I am them loving each other. This came from one of Disassociated's videos talking about, they refer to it as fusion. What I would normally use as a term is integration of two different aspects into one single one. And that is how they express when they miss or experience a longing for between two different aspects. In this particular case, one personality was female, the other was male. And so there's no longer that relationship. Now it's just a single personality. And that really touched my heart when that personality said that they view it as I am them loving each other. Another very helpful to my integration was the recognizing of the part of me that was so afraid, so not wanting to hurt other people or cause them to judge themselves by comparing themselves to me, was that part of me, that perspective in me, was very precious. And how precious it was not realized, understood, or appreciated until this phase of my integration of my personalities. So there was like a very speeding up, and the word quickening pops into my head. I experienced another quickening through these realizations. I could sense in me these messages. I am them loving each other. You know, if another aspect, well, where did they go? Who are you? I'm them loving each other. That's who and what I am. And also the idea that you are a precious gift, your perspective. And it may not be understood where, when, how, or why that is until you reach a certain point in your integration process. And I could sense these messages being passed through the various channels of consciousness within me. So I started off basically on how I would help schizophrenic, and realizing that the faces that they saw and the personalities that they experienced were actually like valves and organs within our physical body system. So maybe our kidney or another part of us held a very miserly personality. And so that consciousness was in our subconscious, undermining our experience, even if we were like all positive, law of attraction, everything should be wonderful and great and we should be generous. And instead we come and, whether we're miserly with our emotions and our feelings, our perspective, or physical things, that could be stored in an organ. And so the faces can go like, you would see one with eyes open, turning its head, and what it's doing when it does that is it's passing the message, the consciousness, down into, like, through our veins to the next valve in our heart, or the valve from our blood to our lungs, things like that. And some you'll see very infant, and their eyes are closed, they never open, they just turn their head. That's a resting consciousness. That's one that hasn't developed, isn't communicating, it just passes the same thing along. It's disassociated. And so I cleared out the ancestral belief systems in my organs, and then through understanding that I disassociated quite often in my life due to trauma, there were aspects or personalities within me that were dormant. Or, for example, when I addressed and finally got the attention of my inner teenager, it was very much like a peanut gallery, snide remarks that I would start to hear, like when somebody talks under their breath when they walk away, where they kind of hope you hear it, but at the same time, they're afraid of what will happen if it's heard and addressed. So confrontation, and healed that relationship with the inner teen and everything. So now I'm going through this and I'm using these tools, the message that I am them loving each other, and that the desire to not do something or to do something is a precious gift, even if it's not accepted by, what we revere in thinking and wisdom. Now, all of these gifts can be brought into application with, a lot of people say, oh, it's a past life. If all things exist at the same time, then it's just an alternate life experience. So now these alternate life experiences we may have in common. Like, 1,000 people say, oh, they were Cleopatra in a past life. No, their soul's just journeying through the Cleopatra experience. I know that my soul's journeyed through an elven experience, the fairy experience, various points in history, and presently in different parts of the world, especially the Middle East. And so all these gifts are being applied to the more expanded aspect of myself, so that the entirety of my soul, through all time, space, history, can come together and become one being that is the ultimate expression of all these other aspects, all of these other entities, and all these other life experiences, all loving each other. So basically, I become my own universe with the ability to love such a variety and to appreciate such a variety of life experiences. And so I have more love within myself for myself, and that ability to love a wider variety of personality types is within my abilities and my capabilities. I can accept a lot more. I can appreciate a lot more. And thus, I can access and interact with a lot more.